Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kurt, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. This is a game that I've got many requests that I should play this, and it certainly looks up my alley, all with the crazy weird-looking dudes in their spacesuits and rockets and the word space in the title, so I'm going to give it a shot here. It's currently under development, very early stages of development, by an indie developer called Squad. They're based in Mexico, I believe. This is their first game, and it's looking pretty good from what I've seen so far. It's currently in a very early version. If you look in the lower right-hand corner there, it's 0.13. It's right now free to play. You can download it and play it. You can do kind of a pre-order for $7, and then you'll get all the future updates for free, kind of like, you know, the alpha version of Minecraft or things like that. So I decided to give it a shot while it's free. It's still, like I said, in the early stages. So not all the features are there, and it's kind of in an open sandbox kind of way right now. So I've started the game. This is the start. And as you can see, we have a launch pad on the right-hand side and a VAB, Vehicle Assembly Building, on the left side. And obviously, before you can launch, you need to build a spacecraft. I am going to skip the tutorial because I've already done that. But yeah, here's the VAB. You have your command module. Right now, there's only one you can choose from because, like I said, it's very early in development. And as you can see in the box there, there's a cost to it. So I'm assuming this game, when it is released or fully fleshed out, you're going to have a budget. You can get money, and then if you crash, you lose money and stuff like that. So there's probably going to be all different types of parts and things you can buy and upgrade and expand your space program. But for now, I'm just going to choose your basic starting point here, and it's pretty simple, intuitive way to kind of look at your spacecraft. I'm just right-clicking and spinning around, and then the scroll wheel zooms me up and down. So let me move, because I'm going to make one hell of a rocket underneath this space capsule here. Let me move that up there. And then up on the upper left-hand corner, you can see there's all these different types of items that you can add. And like I said, it's a sandbox mode right now, and the only limitation is just the limited amount of items you can choose from. So there's not that many items you can choose from, but you can come up with some pretty radical designs just with these. As you can see, there is all the fuel tanks and rockets on this tab. Command and control, or these are kind of like computer guidance as far as I can tell. Without these, the spacecraft is very difficult to control. So those you want to add to your rocket. Structural items like decouplers, which detach the different stages of your rocket, and winglets and things like that. Utility and scientific. I'm assuming eventually they're going to have landers and maybe rovers and things like that. You can land on the moon and other planets. But right now, all we have is a parachute, and we certainly need that on the top of our capsule if we want our astronauts to survive re-entry. And then down here, there's nothing under decals or crew. I'm assuming that there's going to be a crew you can select from, and based on their experience, they're better pilots. And obviously, if you crash, they die, so you have a limited pool of crew you can choose from. But right now, like I said, it's just a kind of a sandbox way we're going about it here. But yeah, let me start making my rocket here. Let me see. I'm not going to go too crazy off the bat here. So first, I need a decoupler underneath my capsule there, because I eventually want to just separate that entire jig right there and re-enter the atmosphere. That is, if I exit the atmosphere in the first place. And then I'm going to want some of these RCS thrusters, which they actually require their own fuel tank. Yeah, RCS fuel tank. So I'll attach that there. I think, or at least based on my limited knowledge of spaceflight, I think these are really only used in orbit, to kind of orient yourself and fly around in orbit. So let me attach that. And actually, I just realized this after I was playing around for a little bit, but there's this little button in the upper left-hand corner that says symmetry. Right now, there's no symmetry, so I can just random willy-nilly add these anywhere on the spacecraft. But if you want, and you probably are going to want some sort of symmetry, you can click this, and as it's counting up to 8, let me go actually to 4. When you add an item, it will be replicated 4 times around your rocket. So that's an easy way to make sure everything's all lined up and symmetrical. It's very important in a rocket so that you don't like start listing to one side during launch and things like that. But yeah, I've added that there. Let me also add one of these SAS modules, which I'm not entirely sure, but I think they're sort of like an autopilot computerized thing that kind of help you keep control a little bit of your rocket. It all depends more on your design. So I've added that. And then I also want to add an upper stage rocket. So I'm going to add a liquid fuel tank and the smaller of the two engines. Hopefully this is what gets into orbit, this whole system right here. We will see though. That may or may not happen. Let me actually move myself up a little bit. And now I want to make the business end here, so let me add another coupler. Don't want to forget those. And then I'm going to add, oh, actually I want probably another, one of more advanced computer controls for this stage. The way I understand it is that each stage needs its own computer guidance situation. I think, I don't know, I could be wrong. I haven't been looking at any like wikis or forums or anything to see, you know, the best rocket designs. I'm kind of just going off the cuff here. So let me add another fuel tank. I'm going to add a few fuel tanks just because this is the part of the rocket that's going to get me off the launch pad, so I need as much fuel as I can. And then I'm going to add one of the big old engines. And I think these right here are solid fuel boosters and boosters. So I think I want to add some of those. But first you need to attach them via these thingamajigs. And once again, I'm actually only going to use 3 of these things. So I'll use the symmetry like that, and then I can add them to the side of this. Let's put it right there. Okay, and then I can add the actual solid fuel boosters right there. And right now all we have is the business end. I don't think you can actually, you know, like the space shuttle has multiple segments that make the booster last longer. See, because if I add that there, then I have 2 nozzles. And that's not what I want. That would be bad. So I'm just going to leave that as is. That's not very aerodynamic, though. I wonder... Can you... Ah. Okay, that really doesn't add too much aerodynamic. Although I suppose that might mean that these would be recoverable after they separate. So I don't know, maybe I'll keep that. I guess that would make more sense in a future version of the game when you're looking at your pinch and pennies and you want to recover these items so you don't have to buy them again. I'll try that out, who knows. But then I also want to add, I don't know how stable that's going to be, but I guess we'll find out. Let me add, what do I want to add? Some sort of, yes, wings, that's what I want to add. So let me add some wings to the outside of these fellas. There we go. And maybe I should add some wings right there. I don't think I'll be needing any wings on this upper stage, because hopefully I'll be in space by the time I'm using that. And without the atmosphere, the wings are going to be pretty pointless. So let me... How many do I want? Yeah, I suppose 3 is probably fine. Yeah, I'll do it in alternate to where these are located. So right there. Alright. This is kind of your basic rocket design. Let me just make sure I have everything situated. Also, I want to mention on the right-hand side, you can see all your different stages. I wonder if, because I think the way I have it set up here, yeah, these are a different stage than this main engine. I would like these to go off at the same time. I wonder if you can, like, click and drag. Okay. So now, hopefully, this will fire at the same time as my boosters. But then these boosters will separate and parachute down after they run out, and I should still have fuel left in all these fuel tanks to keep this one engine running. Okay, so that's kind of cool. I didn't realize you could kind of do that. So yeah, I guess This is a rocket design we could try out. Let us name this. How many engines do I have? I have 1 and 3. So let me name this the Wolfie 1.3. I will save it just for posterity's sake. And once you have a rocket, the next thing to do will be to head to the launch pad. Alright, we're at the launch pad. We have a pretty simple view here. Obviously the crawler probably brought us out here. And we have our astronauts in the lower right-hand corner, and their expressions change based on what situations are happening during the flight. So keep an eye on those guys. We got Bill, Jebediah, and Bob Kerbin, the Kerbin brothers. A few things about controls. Let me just go over. You can free view around here, but the gauge I'm really going to keep an eye on is in the middle here. That tells me if I'm pointed in the right direction. It also allows me with shift to throttle up, and then control to throttle down. That only works on the liquid fuel rockets. So at launch, I probably want to have the throttle right there. WASD controls your roll and your pitch. You can see I'm doing that. And then your yaw and your pitch. And then Q and E is your roll. And then those computer guidance SAS doohickeys, you can enable them on the fly by pressing and holding F. And as you can see, now they're activated, so they're kind of trying to compensate for the fact that my rocket is wobbling back and forth. Or you can toggle them on or off with T on the keyboard. I think I'm going to first try to clear the tower without those enabled, just because, as you see, when they are enabled, they're kind of freaking out. And then once I clear the tower, I think I'll enable them, and they hopefully, based on this design, should keep me straight and steady. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, there's that. The way to launch is to press spacebar. There's no countdown, so I'll have to provide my own countdown. And then every time you want to separate the next stage, you click spacebar as well. So nothing more to explain. I guess it's ready for launch time. Bill, Jebediah, Bob, Godspeed. Your nation's first hopeful astronauts. I'm not sure if I'll get into orbit. Maybe this will be a suborbital flight, but I guess we'll find out. So a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, make rocket go now. Enabled the computer guidance. Oh, those rockets are a little bit wobbly. That might not be good. They're running out of fuel, you can see that. Wow, that's getting out of hand. Easy there, easy. See, this is what I mean about the computer systems being a little bit wonky. Okay, those are out of fuel. I will disconnect them. And this rocket's still going strong. All right, up on the top, I hope you could hear my voice over that. That was kind of loud. Up at the top, you can see how much atmosphere we're going through and our altitude. I do want to start kind of tilting over here. The problem with this SAS thing is it really doesn't allow you to adjust your, if I want to pitch or roll in one certain direction, the SAS thing wants to keep you straight and level. So once I reach about halfway up this altimeter, I'm going to turn off the SAS and kind of take control myself, I think. So far, so good. Let me actually throttle up a little bit. You don't want to stay at 100% too long because your engine can overheat. Okay, I ran out of one fuel tank. All seems good. Let me turn off the SAS, and I want to kind of aim towards this green dot is the direction I'm heading in. As you can see, I'm kind of going diagonally here, so I want to more aim my rocket in that direction. So let me turn off the SAS. Let's slowly tweak myself till... Okay, and I'm going to turn the SAS back on so it keeps me at this angle. Whew. Alright, let's check up on our astronauts. Bill seems a little bit worried, but Jebediah and Bob seem pretty happy. Now we're getting up and out of the thickest part of the atmosphere. going much better than I anticipated. Still not completely heading in the direction I'm actually heading. So let me turn off the SAS again and point my rocket a little bit. Ooh, ooh, don't roll. And the SAS is back on. Okay, very nice, very nice. Now we're getting out into a little bit more of a trajectory. This fuel tank is about to be spent. Let me press M, and I can look at the globe view, and as you can see, my arc is expanding slowly. Might not have enough to get into orbit here. And yeah, I'm starting to kind of go horizontally, which is not good. Not good, guys. I don't know if we're going to get out of the atmosphere here. Might not have had enough power. So I'm going to disconnect the stage here. And then light this stage. And we'll see what this stage can do, but it looks like I'm not doing too good here. I'm still gaining altitude, but not very well. Uh-oh. Bill and Bob are a little bit concerned. Let me look at the map again. I'm expanding my arc a little bit. I am heading towards land, however, so that might not be good. Oh god. Let me actually lift my nose up a little bit. Maybe I'll be able to... No, I don't think that's going to help at all. And my fuel tank is actually almost empty. Dang. Dang! Let me just try to gain speed, which will maybe... SAS back on. Maybe kind of help my arc there. But I'm about to run out of fuel, so this is going to be a suborbital flight. I never fully got out of the atmosphere, unfortunately. And my fuel is about to run out. Alright. Well, there is our arc. It looks like I'm going to land in the middle of some mountains, so sorry guys. This little thing here is the apoapsis. That's more, what is that normally called? Anyway, that's, okay, I've reached the height of what my orbit would be, so now I'm actually going to start coming back down. Which is a little bit bad news, so let me actually turn off the SAS. That green is the direction I'm heading. I want to flip it around so that this green with the X through it is the opposite of the direction I'm heading. So I want to kind of try with the WASD to position my back end in that direction. I don't think they've created any of the atmospheric drag scenarios because I haven't had any sort of re-entry. Let me separate this stage. So, alright, well, for a first try, at least I didn't crash. Well, I guess we're about to find out. I don't know if I can land on land instead of water. Bill is kind of a wuss. Jebediah is a crazy person who's just been maniacally laughing the entire time. Let me open up the drag chute, which should kind of slow us down. I don't know what these 3 parachutes are. Does that mean I have 3 parachutes? I don't know. I'm confused. Yeah, guess we'll find out. Or are those still the parachutes that are part of my my solid rocket boosters? Who knows? Here we go. Yeah. I think I launched from right there, so I made it kind of far. But, my flight time is 6 minutes, about 7-minute flight. This kind of helps you speed up and slow down time, which I guess would be helpful if you're in space, like going to a planet or going to the moon or something like that, but didn't get to use that this time. Ah, some lag there. Slowing down. Yeah, these guys are going to be lost in the mountains. Sorry, guys. Ah. Ah, well, at least maybe we'll land in some grassy plain. Very nice, very nice. Alright, the guys are a little bit happier. I'm not particularly excited about landing on the side of a mountain, but I guess we'll see how this pans out. Oh, got some lag here. Come on. There we go. Alright, guys. Just don't die. Oh, Lord. This is a disaster. Okay. Easy, easy. Oh! I'm sliding down a mountain, and we've come to rest. And my guys didn't die. Hooray. Hooray, they didn't die. So, from here, I can click End Flight, and then I can get all of the whatchamadoozits, what are these things called? The mission flight results. Thank you. I could have just looked at the screen. But yeah, here is 8 minutes, 24 seconds was our flight time. 25 kilometers was our highest altitude, so not quite space. 3.4 G's, G-forces. And let's see. Okay, apparently those parachutes didn't deploy, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. Maybe I'll just remove those next time, because who cares? But yeah, our first flight in Kerbal Space Program was actually somewhat of a success. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, certainly thanks for watching. I'll put a link in the video description where you can download this game and try it out for yourself. And I think I'll be back in a future video where I'll make some modifications to the Wolfie 1.3. I definitely need some more power in that first stage to get up and out of the atmosphere, so look forward to that. But in the meantime, my name is Kurt. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.